Hello, everyone, and welcome to this October edition of Travelogue Media. In a moment, we'll take a look at the episode dealing with the elections in Bolivia. And I'm streaming this on Saturday, the 17th, so the Bolivia elections will take place tomorrow. So if there's any funny business, you heard it here first at Travelogue Media, just remember. Okay, before we get to the episode, I want to just let you know about the merch page I have, an online store, t-shirts, mugs, tote bags, even COVID masks if you need one of those. I will share a link to that in the chat. So please help support, check out all the merch. And also, you can, if you have a scanny phone thing, a scanner on your phone, you can link to all my other sites, the social media sites, YouTube channel, and well, this is the YouTube channel, but all my stuff is there. The online store, everything is there. So if you have a scanner, you can scan the code, and there you go. All right, so let's get to the episode on the elections in Bolivia taking place tomorrow. Okay, enjoy.
I think one of the things that America has to face is the reality that it is an empire.
No, you mustn't use it. You mustn't use it because it make you rebel. Against what?
They were in front of Radio 8, shooting at the station.
No es un crimen defender nuestros propios derechos como pueblos indígenas.
¡Vivos se los llevaron! ¡Vivos los queremos!
Greetings and blessings. Welcome to this October edition of Travelogue Media. I'm Jason Claro, podcasting from a secret bunker in Quetzaltenango, Guatemala. Thanks for being here. On this episode, we're going to be talking about elections. And we have a special message from correspondent Kenzone. Stay tuned. Okay, so most of you are probably listening from the United States, and as you are all well aware, the 2020 elections are nearly upon us. But there are also some other elections going on in the global south, specifically Bolivia. So we're going to be talking about that in a little bit. But before we do that, I want to start with a message from Kenzone, our special Pagosa Springs correspondent, who brings us a message of a message from the heart, a message about the heart and the brain. Let's listen.
Ken Zoen here. Love is usually associated with the heart, and for a very good reason. Our higher, noble emotions flow through that area. Some interesting facts and perspective about the heart. And a lot of this comes from one of my favorite spiritual scientists, Greg Braden, and also from Heart Math Institute. In the human fetus, the heart forms before the brain. Think about that one for a while. The heart can change both magnetically and electrically depending on emotions. The heart is 100 times stronger electrically than the brain. The heart is an astounding 5,000 times stronger magnetically than the brain. The heart and brain are connected hormonally, electrically, and through neural networks. From research of the ancient Egypt comes the concept of intelligence of the heart. and that was put forth by the French archaeologist Schwaller de Lubitz. The heart is a 7-layer liquid oscillator. The toroidal flow energy field around the heart is from 5 to 8 feet. Buddha's field was said to be 3 miles wide. And heart-brain coherence, which is 0.1 hertz, enhances immune response. It triggers 1,300 positive biochemical reactions. 3 keys to the heart-brain harmony: shift your focus, shift breath, and shift feeling. Remember, the structural ambiance of the universe is love. Que todo sea amor.
Okay, so let's remember the heart. Let's remember love. Let's all work on expanding the toroidal field. And with that, I will leave you this heart meditation. All right, thanks for listening to Travelog Media. So we're now going to go to a little discussion of elections, but not the elections in the U.S. We're going to talk about the elections in Bolivia. Yes, finally, we're going to have elections in Bolivia. Can you believe it? Right after last November, you might recall there was a a coup in Bolivia, ousting Evo Morales. And that was a highly disputed, well, there were claims of election fraud. The OAS, Organization of American States, did a big investigation, a report, and that was later challenged. We're going to hear a clip in a minute. But let's, I guess I want to read some tweets. Let's go to Twitter, shall we? So if you really want to know what's going on in Bolivia, probably the best thing to do would be to follow Ollie Vargas on Twitter. He is at OVARGAS52 on Twitter. I will leave a link to his Twitter in the show notes, and you can follow him. But let's go to the Twitterverse. Okay, so the first tweet is from Ollie Vargas. His tweet is on October 10, and okay, let's just remind everyone that the Bolivia elections are Sunday the 18th, so just days away from you, depending on when you're listening to this. I'm recording this on, Tuesday night, late Tuesday night, the 13th, so they'll be held on the 18th, and I guarantee there's going to be some drama. Like, that's my personal guarantee. And I would encourage listeners also to check out the episode I recorded previously on Bolivia from shortly after the coup in November of 2019. So I will link to that. I encourage you to check that out. Okay. So Ollie Vargas tweets, even right-wing polls show Bolivia's MAS hovering at around 1 to 2% away from a first-round victory. We've always known that the left would win. The real question is, will the coup leave peacefully? Will they allow free elections? Will the U.S. back a huge electoral fraud op? And another tweet. This is from one of my favorites, Camila Telesur. This one cracks me up. The U.S. is balls deep in this election, and she is, of course, responding to Acting Assistant Secretary for U.S. Department of State's Bureau of Western Hemisphere Affairs, Michael G. Kozak. Bureau of Western Hemisphere Affairs. That has Monroe Doctrine written all over it. But her response is, the U.S. is balls deep in this election. Great. Another one from Ollie Vargas on October 10th. Pretty funny how Bolivia's self-declared president withdrew her candidacy due to unpopularity, but did it too late. So she'll still be on the ballot paper. Her votes will count as a spoilt ballot. Instructions from Washington didn't arrive on time. Yeah, interesting. So Janine Áñez, who, of course, was never going to imagine running for president herself, turns out she actually did and was thinking about it and ended up pulling out. But, yeah. Nuts. Okay, another one from Camila. She shares a video footage showing, I guess, what apparently is military personnel changing into orange uniforms. And she tweets, "Alert! The Bolivian regime is putting the military in Carlos Mesa campaign clothing, orange. Residents reported seeing them changing into their uniforms at Plaza Villarreal after participating in political propaganda in the square. These same soldiers will, quote, guard the vote. So, yeah, this has all the makings of I don't know who knows what, but I think there's going to definitely be some drama in these elections. Okay, another one from Ollie Vargas from October 10th. This is really scary. He tweets, Bolivia's U.S.-backed regime says it wants to impose a 48-hour quarantine after the elections so as to stop protests against the upcoming electoral fraud. They're preparing huge repression to stop the left. And yeah, it's clear if you've been following this story at all, anything that's not Western media or U.S. corporate media, then you would know that they're really serious about keeping the MAS out, for sure. So they're really they really mean business. So let's we all need to be paying attention. And this one, a tweet from Kasachun News. If I'm pronouncing that. Okay. This is a video clip of what is MAS candidate Brenda Segovia being arrested. So they tweet, MAS candidate Brenda Segovia has been arrested in Santa Cruz following a far-right attack on a MAS office in Plan 3000. The Camacho supporters responsible have not been arrested. This is the latest case of political persecution against MAS representatives during the campaign. Yeah, and there's been all kinds of examples of this. I mean, this is just the latest in a long string of very forceful opposition against MAS. Another from Kasachun News. Bolivia Interior Minister has ordered police to take a political role during the elections so as to, quote, consolidate democracy and be, quote, on the right side of history. A few days ago, the minister endorsed neoliberal candidate Carlos Mesa. Well, isn't that interesting? Okay. I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit because there's a lot more I want to get to. I think what I'll do. Oh, I can't leave this one out. This is really unbelievable. Just if you need another example of the kind of stuff that's going on against MAS in Bolivia, this is just unbelievable. So Ollie Vargas tweets a little video clip. He says, Bolivian University professor Jose Andres Candias Schultz tells students that they must send him a photo of their ballot. Those who vote MAS will be failed. The MAS have reported this to the TSE. The authoritarian mindset of Bolivian coup supporters. He went on to report that he, in fact, was fired for doing this, for pulling this stunt. But this just sort of gives you an idea of like how, the levels. This is democracy happening right here. Yeah. Okay, so that's it for the tweets for now, and then I want to. So I've been speaking about Ollie Vargas. He's been doing great work reporting from Bolivia. So he was on a show recently. He tweeted also, let me find the name of it. Oh, The Heat, I think it was called. The Heat, yes. And so I'm just going to play a little bit of that now. You can hear what he had to say. This was like a roundtable discussion with, this really speaks to the power of U.S. corporate propaganda and Western media the fact that we're still asking, is this a coup? Is it a coup? Really? Is it? We don't know. Maybe yes, maybe no. We just are not sure. Well, okay. Yeah, there's propaganda at work there for you. But let's, so they had this shows like, I guess, a round table kind of thing. So anyway, listen to what he had to say, Ollie Vargas.
Okay, Ollie Vargas, you wanted to say something. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. When the last speaker said that the Bolivian people threw out Evo Morales, which Bolivian people is he referring to? The protests against Evo Morales that took place after the election, which he won, were
I don't know. Okay, sorry, Arthur, one at a time. Arthur, I'll give you a chance to say what you want to say. Ollie Vargas, finish what you're going to say.
The protests against Evo Morales after the election, which he won in October 20th, 2019, where were they? They were concentrated in the south of the city of La Paz, which is the wealthiest area of the city, in the inner rings of the city of Santa Cruz, and the northern side of the city of Cochabamba. All of these are the wealthiest areas in the country. And then when Morales was toppled by the military, the areas that fought back to support Evo Morales, where were they? They were overwhelmingly the working class areas of the big cities, El Alto, Zona Sur of Cochabamba, Plan 3000, Santa Cruz, and all of the rural areas, indigenous rural areas of the country. So when the last speaker referred to the Bolivian people, what he's referring to is white, middle, and upper class elites who have always hated Evo Morales, who have always felt racially humiliated by being governed by an indigenous president. And Mark is absolutely right.
Arthur, just one moment. I will get to you, Arthur. One moment. Go ahead.
Mark is absolutely right. There are numerous flaws in the OAS report, and we can see that now in the polls for the upcoming elections. The movement towards socialism, is getting roughly the same amount that Evo Morales got at the last election, which he won. So a poll released last night by RTP, that carried out by Ipsos, showed that out of the valid votes, the MAS candidate Luis Arce is on 42% of the vote. Now, polls historically in Bolivia underestimate the vote of the MAS because much of the MAS vote is in rural areas that are harder to reach. So therefore, that figure is almost the same as the 47% that Evo Morales won in October 20.
All right, Arthur, I want to come to you now, Arthur. The OAS audit of the results, which we looked at, it said that there was an inexplicable... Let me get to that. There was inexplicable and drastic trend changes that undermined the legitimacy of the results. Here in Washington, we had a political newspaper, The Hill, which carried a piece by 2 U.S. representatives, which said that the OAS provided no evidence or rationale for that claim.
So, yeah, you can see just like the circus. Yeah, these people they have on is just like, I speak for the people. Morales was a dictator, and that's it. End of story. Like, they don't have to, back it up with anything. Or this report didn't really reveal. This report by the OS didn't really reveal fraud, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And we're still, here we are, still a year later, still asking, was there a coup? I don't know. Gee. Okay, but I want to go to this. I mentioned the. Let me try to pronounce it again. Kasachun Koka media organization. They have an article called "The Fight to Save Bolivia's Lithium." Okay, so the article says, Bolivia has the world's largest known reserves of lithium, which is set to become one of the world's most important natural resources as manufacturers seek it out for use in batteries for electric cars, computers, and industrial equipment. The U.S.-backed coup in November came just as Bolivia was beginning to industrialize the processing of value-added final products under the nationalized company YLB. The new regime has already announced that they plan to invite numerous multinationals into the Salar de Uyuni, the vast salt flats in Potosí that hold the precious soft metal. Agnes's VP candidate, Samuel Dore Medina, went as far as inviting Elon Musk over Twitter to come and exploit the salar and establish a lithium battery factory for Tesla cars. Elon Musk did not tweet back. The plan under Evo Morales' government was to process the lithium within Bolivia rather than just exporting the raw material to the factories of the global north. It would have broken the neo-colonial relationship in which Latin America countries often have to buy back the refined end product of their own raw materials. Similar efforts are being made in Mexico, where AMLO's government is pushing for more oil refineries to end the absurd situation in which Mexico ships crude to the U.S. only to have to buy it back from them as a refined product at a much higher price. All right, so so this is where it gets interesting. Right, so a very lithium-rich country, Bolivia. So they have resources that U.S. multinationals want, oddly enough. So of course, there's never democracy in countries where countries that have natural resources that the U.S. wants, such as Venezuela, also notably. Interesting. And so there's also where do I want to? So I want to also go next to another article from the Gray Zone. Okay, so apparently I forgot to mention the name of the article and the author. The article is called Green Billionaires Behind Professional Activist Network That Led Suppression of Planet of the Humans documentary. And that's written by Max Blumenthal. We're talking about now, we're kind of zooming out into the context of like, okay, we have this green renewable energy push that is often, in many cases, is backed by large corporations, billionaires, Goldman Sachs and so on down the list. So they want to get behind all the greening of the energy, and of course they're going to need lithium for that. So, but anyway, this is an article that talks about Michael Moore's film. Well, it's not Michael Moore's film. It's a film that he executive produced, and I will link to that, which is called, the film is called Planet of the Humans, which is very, shall we say, critical of the the so-called green energy movement that is often using up as much, if not more, fossil fuel, or burning as much fossil fuels before. And, and it relies heavily on mining to make a lot of this stuff happen. So I'll just read a little clip from this just to give you a sense. So I'll link to this article as well. He says, the inevitable rush on minerals required to power the green revolution has not exactly delighted residents of the global south, however. Evo Morales, the indigenous former president of Bolivia, was driven from power in 2019 by a military junta backed by the United States and local oligarchs in what he branded a lithium coup. With the world's largest untapped lithium resources, Bolivia is estimated to hold as much as half of the world's reserves. Under Morales, the country guaranteed that only state-owned firms could mine the mineral. The ousted socialist leader argued that multinational corporations supported his right-wing domestic opponents in order to get their hands on Bolivia's lithium, an essential element in the electric batteries that provide the cornerstone to a digital economy dependent on smartphones, laptops, and electric vehicles. As a small country of 10 million inhabitants, we were soon going to set the price of lithium, Morales said. They know we have the greatest lithium reserves in the world in a space of 16,000 square kilometers. Just before the military coup in Bolivia, a report by the World Economic Forum's Global Battery Alliance reported that the global demand for electric batteries will increase 14-fold before 2030. Almost half of today's lithium is mined to produce electric batteries, and the demand for the mineral will only rise as power grids incorporate high levels of battery-powered tech and the demand for electric vehicles increases. Electric batteries are also heavily reliant on cobalt, most of which is mined from Congo, and often in illegal and dangerous conditions by child labor. In December 2019, over a dozen Congolese plaintiffs sued Apple, Google's Alphabet parent company, Microsoft, Dell, and Tesla, accusing them of knowingly benefiting from and aiding and abetting the cruel and brutal use of young children in the Democratic Republic of Congo to mine cobalt. In July, Tesla CEO and electric battery kingpin Elon Musk appeared to take partial credit for the 2019 military coup that forced Bolivia's Evo Morales from power, asserting that big tech billionaires like him could, quote, coup whoever we want, unquote. Okay, so that's from the gray zone, and it's a larger, it's a big can of worms. Let's just put it that way. There's just no way around it. And it's, the film Planet of the Humans is, it takes a very critical view of it's difficult because yes, we want renewable energy. We want less burning of fossil fuels. We need to big time curb the emissions. But the film reveals a lot of the stuff that just, in many ways, it just keeps. It just is a continuation of what we've had before. So, it's a difficult situation for sure. Okay, so. Of course, I will link to all those articles, and I hope everyone is doing well, healthy and happy, and hang in there. The elections will be here and gone, and we'll move on with our lives no matter what happens, but that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Music was by Septa Helix. Make sure to follow Travelog Media on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. You can check out the merch from the online store at Teespring. I'll put a link in the show notes. You can send me an email. info@travelog.media. And that's going to do it. Que todo sea amor. Walk tall, live free.